everybody, what is going on today? Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to cover the pitching attributes on each individual card and what they all mean, what they do for you in MLB The Show 23, and how they actually affect the hitters, so you guys know exactly which kind of attributes to look for best for yourselves, all right? But first, you guys do me a favor, as always, make sure to smash that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel, man. Subscribe. You guys make sure you got those notifications on also, so you always know when we're live right here on YouTube most days at 10 a.m. Central. We'll be playing through this morning a little bit of co-op ranked. It's my first little venture into co-op ranked, and it's gonna get kind of ragey, I bet. So we're gonna do it with randoms today. It'll be kind of fun, so you guys make sure to join us for the live stream. But let's go ahead and hop in here. We'll take a look at one of these pitching cards and kind of go over all the attributes and tell you guys exactly how they work for your cards and all that. All right, you guys, so here's my Bob Feller P5 card. We've got it pulled up here on the squad. We're up to 10 now P5 cards here on the squad, so we're doing pretty good, man, on the grind, on the PXP grind this year. But we're going to take a look at all of these pitching attributes. What do they all mean? Nobody knows what they all mean. Not everybody always knows what they all mean, so I'm going to tell you and break it down for you. It's changed a little bit this year as a result of the batting clutch and pitching clutch thing being the biggest change this year. So we're going to go over that and explain all of that to you here when we get to that one. And it used to be a little bit easier for people and everybody to know exactly how this would work. We covered this in the hitting attributes one yesterday in the video for it. So you guys want to know what all those mean, you can check that video out as well. But it used to be a little bit easier for everybody because the quirks that were on here were not all active quirks. Some of them were passive quirks, and they would actually explain, and they were kind of like idiot lights in a car. That's how I explain them. You know, when your check engine light comes on, they call those idiot lights in a car. So that's how I would always explain them. They're kind of like for people that don't understand maybe the game or understand baseball all that well, but they still want to know what everything does. And in that quirk section, we would have passive quirks that would kind of explain what each one of these did for the card. Those being gone this year makes it a little bit more confusing for newer players and things like that. So we want to cover them. The first one we're going to go over right here is going to be the stamina. All right, stamina is pretty self-explanatory. It is how long your pitcher can go in a game, how many pitches they can throw, also how quickly they recover as well. It combines with one of the other attributes, though, for that. It's not just the stamina that goes along with how quickly they recover. It's actually the durability attribute, which you don't even see on this list. But if you hit toggle attributes on any of your pitchers, you can actually see what their hitting attributes are. And the durability one will be pretty high on a lot of them right here. So you can tell it's a 99 here for this card. I believe that's as high as that one goes. It doesn't go above a 99. So for Bob Feller, he's going to recover very quickly and gain his energy back quite fast. So the stamina combined with that durability attribute, that's how you're going to know that. All right. Hits per nine. Hits per nine, always in the past, and even this year so, is one of the most important attributes that you have on your cards. What it does is it controls, the higher the number is, the smaller your opponent's PCI will be when they're hitting, all right? And even if they're using directional hitting or timing or analog or one of those, they still have plate coverage, all right? They still have a plate coverage indicator. They just don't always see it. They don't have always control over it per se. So it does control the actual size of their window and able to make good contact and all that. So, but for those of you using zone, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you face a pitcher that has that high hits per nine, it's going to lower the size of that PCI and make it a little bit smaller. Makes it harder to be able to square up the ball. So that's a great one to always focus on and make sure that it's the highest number you can possibly get. This year, where it's different though, we're going to jump a few dials down to the PCLT, which is your pitching clutch. All right, this one's a 125 right now on this card. That pitching clutch number is going to take over for you, and instead of your hits per nine, when you have runners in scoring position. So if a runner is on second or third base, or just second base, or just third base, it doesn't have to be both. Anytime you have runners in scoring position, that is when your pitching clutch will then take over for your hits per nine. So you will have, with this card right here, my opponent would have the smallest possible PCI, which makes it a little bit easier to be able to get those outs and try to set down hitters and maybe get out of a sticky situation with runners in scoring position. So as we mentioned yesterday, how it works with the hitters is that the batting clutch number takes over for the contact attribute. So a little bit different of a shakeup here in the way it's done this year. I'm liking it. I think it's actually really interesting how you can use cards that way and focus on trying to steal more bases, get runners in scoring position. We've got the stealing tips video here for you guys on the channel as well. But how you can steal more bases, get more runners in scoring position to be able to take advantage of these clutch situations, these clutch attributes you have on your card. So, but that's what that controls. The pitching clutch is going to take over for the hits per nine, and that's what it is. Typically, the pitching clutch will work in all your other scenarios as well whenever you're facing hitters, but it's just going to kind of combat the batter's clutch. So they're going to kind of work against each other. If you've got a guy that has 125 pitching clutch and a guy that has 125 batting clutch that you're facing, then it's pretty much gonna, I don't want to say it's going to actually divert to the hits per nine, but they're going to cancel each other out, right? They're both the same kind of boost on the card, so they're going to cancel each other out. It's going to be pretty much like you're working with the normal hits per nine on it, so it's not going to do as much or be as effective, okay? All right, your K per nine. K per nine is the thing we're going to cover next. That one on this card's a 113. What it's going to cover, the higher the number is on this, the smaller the window, the timing window will be for hitters, all right? So when you're trying to get that perfect timing on a ball to get perfects or be early on an inside pitch or be a little late on an outside pitch, the ability for you to get perfect timing on those pitches is going to be a little bit more difficult because the timing window will shrink the higher the number that you have on those K per nine. All right. The walks per nine. Walks per nine is very important. That's your control. Control and the walks per nine both actually work together and function as one together. Now, I'm not a pinpoint pitcher. I personally use pulse pitching. I've used it forever. For me, when I'm using pitchers and selecting pitchers, the thing I always want to look for, my phone just went off. Sorry. When I'm looking for those pitchers, though, is to have the highest walks per nine that I possibly can and the highest control number that I possibly can, because those two things, when they work together, give you the best overall control for like pulse pitching or any of those other pitching styles. For pinpoint, I'm not exactly sure how that affects it if they are both working together in that. I assume they are because they have done that pretty much in every pitching mode or interface that we've had throughout the years. Analog meter, all that. It seems to do the same thing. Classic. So it should be your walks per nine and your control number. The higher those are, the better you're going to be able to control your pitches. Now, you can also actually look at individual pitchers' pitches. I'm going to move the camera over here to the left and cover the card for a split second. If you push in, which is your R3 button on your joystick, push in on your joystick, you'll watch this won't show velocity anymore. It'll actually go to control, and it'll show you the individual control on each one of your pitches. So you're going to have better control on obviously your first pitches as opposed to your fourth and fifth pitch for like a Bob Feller card like this one here. If you push it again, it'll actually go over to the amount of break that you have on those pitches. So that's very great as well to be able to see for each individual card. And you can check this on every card here in the game as well. We'll go back to the velocity here before we cover this next one. We'll move the camera back over so you guys can see that card. All right, so the home runs per nine. Home runs per nine, what does it do? Nothing. It does nothing. About 4 years ago, the community complained that they didn't think they were getting a lot of exit velocity on hits. So a lot of people complained in the community. SDS removed home runs per nine from being effective or mattering on cards whatsoever. The only time it's effective is when you're simulating games. So it doesn't matter. In Diamond Dynasty, there's no place that you're simulating games. In Conquest, that might be the only place, but it's not doing anything in that. So home runs per nine does nothing. Don't worry about that attribute. It literally means diddly squat. All right, nothing at all. All right, pitching clutch we already covered. That's the next one over here. Control we already kind of covered here with the walks per nine as well. So like I said, that control number, the higher you have that, the easier it's going to be to locate your pitches in the spots that you're looking for. Velo, that's pretty self-explanatory. This is your VEL velocity. That's how hard he throws. All right, so if you see guys with 99s, there's a good chance when you go over to the quirks page that you're going to find outlier 1 or outlier 2 on some of those guys. This one also has break outlier as well, which is a new quirk this year. And we'll cover the quirks in a later video here on the channel as well and kind of go over what all the quirks mean as well. But as far as the velocity, that's just it's pretty self-explanatory. Break, also pretty self-explanatory. It's going to cover, obviously, how much the pitches break. And I showed you how you can look at each individual pitch and see the break on each individual one as well. So that's those. All right, fielding. On the fielding attributes for your pitchers, they don't mean all that much, all right? There's a pitcher wall here in MLB The Show where if you hit the ball up the middle, the pitcher's probably going to make the play or stop the ball, knock it down in some way, shape, or form, and probably get you out. Unless you hit it right through the wickets or something, man, and get it right between their legs. That's about the only chance you got of getting a hit if you hit it up the middle. But the fielding number, it's good for if you got guys that are laying bunts down on you. That fielder, your pitcher that has a higher fielding number is going to be able to get off the mound and be able to make those plays a little easier. But other than that, it's really not that beneficial. None of these really are that big of a deal as far as the fielding numbers go. The arm strength, that's what this one is. Obviously, for fielding, it's the same as with hitters. Arm strength, he's got a 99. Bob Feller's got outlier. Of course, he has 99 arm strength. So he can throw the ball hard. And make plays on like a little weak hit to the left side or something over to third base. He can pick it up, grab it, throw it over to first, probably get him out. Arm accuracy, that is going to matter a little bit, all right? Because on plays hit back to the pitcher where you're trying to throw the ball to bases, you want to have a higher accuracy because that way you'll be more likely to throw it where you're trying to throw it as opposed to out into the outfield or into the stands or something. So that's what your arm accuracy is going to be. And your reaction time is not going to matter for the pitchers all that much. I mean, you got to think about how quick that reaction has to be to be able to make those plays. They seem to be able to make them just fine. So I don't really see that the reaction number matters all that much for pitchers. But that is the full breakdown of the pitching attributes and what they all do and how they all function on your cards here in MLB The Show 23. I hope this video helps you guys out. Make sure to check out the hitting video as well on the attributes that we posted again yesterday, because if you're a little confused on those or how they all work, it changes from year to year. It's always just a little bit different, and we go over it and break it down in that one as well. But I hope this helps you out. You guys do me a favor, as always. Make sure to smash that like button for me. Subscribe down there to the channel, man. Subscribe. Make sure you got those notifications on, and make sure to join us here for the live streams on YouTube right here on the channel most mornings, 10 a.m. Central. Thanks, everybody. Peace.